I'm Ash, the otter behind Otter Make Games, and this is just to reach out to put together a video for the Boston FIG Expo coming up in 2024. A little late to it, but hopefully maybe it's third. We'll see if we can do this still. I'm a solo indie game dev who came from AAA. I've been working in the game industry for about 14 years. Went to game school for about 4 years before that. I worked most notably with BioWare for about 9.5 years, and I was at the EA a couple years before that, and I worked mobile even before that. So it's been long time in the industry. Well, not as long as others. And I wanted to send a video, give you an update on who I am, what I plan to do as a dev. I also have the game I've been working on, Itsy, ready and available to kind of give you a brief preview of what's that like. About myself as a solo dev, I've always been interested in indie and wanting to work indie, even when I was with the larger studios, but never really had the time to do it. You know, you always kind of grow up and you don't have the time or the resources, the money to do anything, and so you gotta wait till you save up enough later on to be able to do it. And this kind of comes through a transformative period of my life. I'm kind of realizing, working through different kinds of burnout, not even just work burnout, but even just like learning about like autism burnout, where you realize that, oh, wow, we're actually diagnosed autistic, and you're working through what that means and realizing how hard you've been pushing yourself. You'll find that a lot of this comes from Itsy. I wasn't trying to make a one-to-one corollary with Itsy. I don't want to make it too on the nose, but I do want to make it relatable, because I'm pretty sure that other people have gone through experiences in their life where they just sort of feel like they're continually pushing and pushing and pushing on something, but not really. All they're seeing is steps back, or things not working, or hopes getting dashed kind of repeatedly. But at the same time, trying to find hope in that, because I don't want to make it this like a depressing idea, because I do feel like it's important to kind of like know how do we shoulder our way through those situations, but at the same time, knowing our limits, knowing when not to push ourselves, knowing when to say our boundaries, knowing when to say enough is enough, because that's important too. Because I really didn't want the game to be about toxic positivity, like bad thing happened, keep going, doesn't matter, you're crying, doesn't matter. No, I don't want that. Just keep moving forward if you can, or if you even want, while at the same time listening to your body and to your heart, and to your mind. Listen to those little things your body's telling you, because that's important. So there's been a lot of learnings for me along that way. My company, that's for Itsy. My company is Otter Make Games, and my focus is big story, small games. Part of that reason is I'm a solo dev, and while I can do code, art, and music, and things like that, I don't have all the resources or the time. So rather than bite off much more than I could possibly chew, it's about rescoping to fit that. And I don't know if the weird thing is I'm not sure if there's an audience there for that, where they can have like a short cathartic playthrough of a game that lasts maybe 1 minute to 5 minutes, maybe an hour, maybe like 5 hours would be a really long game in the realm that I'm thinking of. It could be done, but like that'd be your longer Metroidvania that's 5 hours or something. Because it's part of it just trying to scope to my abilities, and part of it also, like, as I've grown older, I don't have the time to play 80-hour games anymore. But I also don't want to just play mobile games that don't really feed me much mentally, and they don't feed my heart too much. I love to play games with stories. I love to play games with heart. I love to play games that make me cry. I'm a big fan of Earthbound. I'm a big fan of Mother 3. I'm a big fan of Night in the Woods, Undertale. Games like that. Games with heart. And I would love to continue on that track. But my angle with the games that I make is less about trying to make a game that fits in something that I can make within a year, that isn't too huge, that feels cathartic and like a full experience to the player, but is also a much more smaller one. That's the hope. Tell you what, I'm gonna go ahead and just get the game started, because I can talk while I can play, and I kind of want to give you that crossover, right? So let's see. Yeah, so this is Itsy. So this is Itsy. It's made to be a mobile game, but I've also kind of made sure that the resolutions can hold up on larger screens with pixel art. So ideally, it's going to be released for mobile, Android, and Steam, probably itch.io. I'm potentially looking into Xcode so I can also release it for iOS, but we'll see about that. Let's go ahead with the tutorial because that will give you the start from the beginning of the game, essentially. One Dale, no, not again. Fight! He's like trying to put a tutorial in that doesn't actually tell the player how, like, what button to press. See if that actually works. So, one of my biggest focuses for games while I was working in the industry was ambient storytelling. Getting games to have sense of story, but in the gameplay space, where it's not always cutting to cutscenes. I came from working in cinematic design for a number of years at Bioware before I shifted over to this in-game storytelling. And honestly, as a gamer myself, I love when story can arise from the level. You know? Oopsie. Oopsie. There it is. And that's the end of the tutorial. I love when storytelling can come from the level. So having this understanding of warm and cold, light and no light, turning off the lights with the rainwater, but also using it as an example for a warning from when the water's coming. When you start to see the blue and the fade up in the background. Come on. No. Okay. So hey. Okay. Let's see. I am probably about a year. No, not a year. A month. I'm hoping this is the start of May. I'm hoping by the end of May, I could see this through to completion. The idea was to create a game that is much smaller and just keep the scope. Keep the scope down. And it's hard because when you want to do stuff and you have the big ideas and you want people to see something, you want to make something big and substantial for people. But finding ways to do that in a bite-sized game that you can pick up and put down, it's like a whole other challenge to it. But at the same time, not losing out on what tone might be there. It's probably what like a lot of games that Game Boy had, where it's like, oh, it's got to be a pick up and play experience, but also needs to feel substantial in its own right. So how do we do that? We have really simplified gameplay. So you kind of work in terms of density of that was close. Ooh, boop, boop. There it is. Yeah. So that's me. This is Ash. That's a little bit of story behind Otter Games, and that's a little bit of behind the game that I'm working on currently. Itsy. If you have any more questions or anything, or I didn't, elaborate enough on the right things, go ahead and let me know, and I can always fill that out later. Thank you very much. Hope you have a really good day. Cheers. Bye.